Hello, lovely people. Welcome to today's edition. In today's edition, we are coming to talk about how to apply for scholarship to the US yourself without using an agent. Growing up, I had an American dream, and I know so many people also had this American dream, same dream. And if we are to compare in terms of university rankings, US has got most of the universities among the top 100 universities in the world. And the good news is you can even apply for scholarship yourself without using any agent. And you don't even have to worry about the huge fees and everything. That is why we have our special guest today, and it's no other person than a postgraduate student in the US who is already enjoying this kind of scholarships. And today she's coming to explain to us the basics and the information needed for you to know if you want to apply study in the US yourself without using an agent. I personally, I always thought in US it's never possible. You have to write SAT, you have to write those difficult exams. Welcome our special guest. How are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing very fine. So she's from Eyram Consult, one of the best consulting agency that is very open to help you with all your application process if you want to study in the US. If you are watching live or watching pre-recorded, within some time you can join this live to ask questions concerning applying for scholarship to the US. So in terms of applying to the US, even before we talk about that, who is or what is Eyram Consult all about?
Okay. Thank you for giving me a platform to spread the good news on education. With Eyram Consult, what we do is that we help people to apply for school. We mainly give information to people. We sort out schools in the US, in UK, around the world where they are asking for students or where there's an opportunity for a student to get admitted. We find out about those informations, then we give it to the public. We also help in CV reviewing and CV writing. We also help in reviewing your statement of purpose and also helping you through the application process. Some people cannot do their application all by themselves, they need some guidance. So you can contact us and we will help you with that also.
Wow, interesting. I'm so happy you are not even only based in the US, you can help even students with other countries as well. I'm happy there's a consult like this because there are so many people who always get scammed most of the times in terms of applying for scholarships to other countries. And I'm glad we have one legit consult. In terms of applying to the US, is it true that there's scholarship that people can enjoy without paying any fees in the US?
Yeah, there are many scholarships in the US. The scholarships are in a variety of ways. You can have African student scholarship, you can have even the departmental scholarship and the university wide scholarship. There are many scholarships that if you apply to schools and you qualify for them, you can get it in the US. A lot of scholarship. I cannot mention all of them today, but every school and every department, every program that you're applying to have some form of scholarship that they provide to help students to alleviate the cost. And those scholarships mostly come in the form of tuition scholarship. Some too can be full scholarship. So there's kind of also a difference in the kind of scholarship that you can get as a prospective applicant.
Wow, interesting. I'm happy to hear that there are scholarships. I am currently based in China. In China, for bachelor degree programs, there are less scholarship programs. It's only postgraduate that you can get full scholarship with allowances every month. In the US, how is it like?
So the US scholarship, as I said earlier, is kind of different. We have different types of scholarship, and we have the full tuition scholarship, which means that let's say you are applying to a school and your tuition is around 10,000 US dollars, and you have
Yes.
other fees. There are other fees like the internet you use, the facilities, they have those other fees. So if
Yes.
they give you a full tuition scholarship, meaning that that's $10,000, which is the tuition fee for
Yes.
learning, is going to be waived. Then the remaining part of the fees you have to pay,
Yes.
the other fees in quotes,
Yes.
the other fees in quotes you have to pay. Then we also have the partial scholarship, and it comes in a way that it covers some of your tuition. It can also cover some of the um how do we call it, other fees,
Other
but
fees. Yes.
you have to pay the remaining one. So let's say your school fees plus the other fees is around 10,000 US dollars. Everything is 10,000, and
Yes.
you have a partial scholarship. It's going to cover, let's say, 7,000 US dollars, meaning that the remaining 3,000, which you have some part of your school fee, your tuition fee part,
Yes.
plus your departmental fees, is going to be what you are going to pay. That 3,000 is what you are going to pay. Then we also have the full scholarship. That one can cover everything, meaning your tuition fee, your departmental fee, your other fees, everything is going to cover everything, and you are not going to pay anything. Then we also have another form of scholarships like the fellowship. That fellowship is, let's say you applied for to be a master's student in
Yes.
business administration. Now they have a fellows program that is like somebody has come to say, okay, I want to use my name to make this scholarship, but I want it to be in the form of fellowship, meaning
Okay.
you are going to learn your MBA course, you are going to learn whatever you are learning, but at the end of the day, you are a fellow of that. You're a fellow recipient of that scholarship. So meaning that scholarship is going to cover your fees, it's going to give you stipend, it's going to do all those kind of
Everything.
things for you. Then we also have the graduate teaching assistant, we have the graduate research assistant, we have the teaching
So,
assistant, we
so
have
meaning we have many types of
many
scholarships.
types of scholarship.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
with the graduate assistantship and anything that is graduate assistantship, what
Yes.
happens is that your tuition fee is going to be paid for in full. But then
Okay.
in exchange for them paying your tuition fee, you'll be doing some work. Like you'll be teaching students 20 hours per week, you'll be doing some research 20 hours per week, and
Okay.
they're also going to give you a monthly stipend. So these are just a few form of scholarships that we have in the US here.
Okay. Wow. Interesting. With the before I even come to the stipends, I want you to categorize the scholarships into this group, like bachelor degree scholarships and postgraduates. For
Mhm.
example, in China, there's less bachelor degree scholarships, like full scholarship. Mostly it will be fee paid. Do we have scholarships in the US for bachelor degree students who can apply themselves?
Yes, there are scholarships. So, the US kind of scholarship is either merit based or you apply for it separately. If I say merit based, it means that
Yes.
when you put in your application to study here, you don't need to put in any other application for scholarship again. They are going to review your SOP, you are going to review your documents, your transcripts, everything. And
Yes.
if you qualify for that merit based scholarship, like you have good academic standing, your recommendation letters are superb, everything is okay, then they are going to give you that merit based scholarship. But let's say you applied to the school, you got the admission, but you don't have funding or you don't have scholarship, then they are going
Yes.
to tell you, okay, we have this kind of scholarships there. You can apply for them. If you apply for them and you are chosen, then they give you that scholarship. So even for bachelor students, there is that kind of scholarship. And mind you, just like we have the graduate teaching assistant for those who are in masters and doctoral programs, we also have some form of assistantship. It's not like teaching assistant where you teach, but then
Yes.
I know of one girl that was working as a laboratory assistant. What she does is that she comes to supervise, comes to clean up the place and all those things. But then her tuition fee is paid for, and then she also has some monthly allowances that she take. So there are different types, just as we have for the undergraduates, we have the same for the graduates too. But you can apply for it separately, or if everything it works out for you, everything is good, then they are going to give you that scholarship for free.
Wow, thank you for informing us. I personally, I only knew if you want bachelor degree scholarships, you have to write SAT, is it those kind of exams, get high score before you can get bachelor degree scholarships. And I'm glad,
It
yeah,
depends with the SAT and this. Nowadays, after the COVID, there are many
yeah,
schools that are trying to waive that. But other
okay,
schools, to before you to get the scholarship, you have to write a SAT, or you have to write ACT, or you even have to write the TOEFL or whatever it is. You have to
yeah,
write them and pass well before you can be considered for such scholarship. So it comes with an advantage if you write the SAT or any of these exams. But
yeah,
there are also schools that will say that okay, after the COVID, we feel like we want to waive all these things. So it's per the school's discretion. If they need that qualifying exam to be
yeah.
able to give you that scholarship, then it means you have to write it. But if they don't need it and they are going to use other methods to see that you qualify for it, then it's also a discretion that is um, solely for the school.
Wow, interesting. Those watching live, we are with our special guest, Eyram Consult, who is educating us how to apply to the US, UK, Canada, and several countries for scholarship yourself without using an agent. And today, by the end of this conversation, you will learn everything about applying for scholarship. If you have any question, you can comment in the comment section, and a time will come where you can join this live and ask question through video session or audio session. Wow, interesting. In the US, in China here, if you're a student, you are not allowed to work legally. So I always advise people who come to China that if you don't get full scholarship or partial scholarship, especially for bachelor degree programs or postgraduate, I'll advise you not to come because when you are caught working illegal, you will be deported. How about in the US?
Okay, so with the US school, it gives you an advantage to work 20 hours per week, but there is a catch to it. You can only work on campus, and that 20 hours is 20 hours, not 20 hours plus 5 hours. No, it's 20 hours, and you can only do it on campus. So if you are a student and let's say you have funding for your tuition fee, you are not doing any other thing to give you stipend, you can work in places like the school's dining or cafeteria, the library, you can work in the laboratory, depending on where there is a job calling for you, you can work in those places. However, if you, I don't think there's anybody that works outside like campus. I don't think there is none. You may need special, I'm not really sure, but if for you to work outside school, then it means you may need special permission. You have to contact the international office, ask them, tell them about your situation, and if you are approved, maybe you can work that way. But in almost all cases, 99.9% of the time,
Yeah.
every student is supposed to work on campus for 20 hours a week.
Wow, interesting. Thanks for making that very clear to our viewers and I personally. Yes, Robert is watching live. He said, "Thank you for your time." And Juliet is saying, "Good evening. I am interested in securing graduate scholarship. That is why we are there for you. That is why we are having this conversation. And the time will come if you want to join through call session, we will do that. And you can ask any question about getting the scholarship." Wow, interesting. Then that means if you are working in campus, meaning you are really restricted. I
Yeah.
don't think in campus you can do most work to pay fees.
No. The the thing about international students is that when you go to, before you even get your I-20, what will help you to apply for your visa and everything,
Yeah.
you are asked to bring out a statement of account, meaning that you are asked to bring out an account that is going to help you in your schooling process. So let's say you are a graduate student, your fees that you need to bring, they tell you to bring 40,000 US dollars. It means that for that 2 year duration that you are going to be studying, that
Yes.
40,000 is always available to help you. You understand? So
Yeah.
if you bring that account and you are given the visa you come in, the notion is that every single day, no matter the time, the place, anywhere at all, that
Yeah.
money is there to support you. And you cannot work out your way to pay fees here. No, that is the simple gospel truth. You cannot do that because you are working the amount of money that you will be making, maybe $20 per hour, and every
Yeah.
week you are working like 20 hours. It's not going to, because aside your fees, you need to pay for your room, you need to eat, you need to wear clothes, you need to charge your like your phone, everything. So that
Yes.
20 hours per week cannot help you do all those things plus your fees again. It cannot do that. That is why I always advise people that get some form of funding, or know that this place you are coming, there are people that are going to help you. They are family members, they are your parents or anybody. You can afford it. Simply, you can afford it by
Yes.
yourself. But if you say you don't have scholarship but you are coming in, you may get a visa and everything. But you come and you cannot work that 20 hours to pay your fees. I don't know of anybody who has been able to work 20 hours to pay their fees. If there's someone out there, that person can come and educate us on how he or she did it. But 20 hours cannot do anything.
Wow, interesting. That is why I'm happy we have a consult like yours, because I know of so many agents who promise people that go to the US because you get full school, you can work and even pay your fees.
No.
I personally have so many agents, and I know mostly they do that to attract people to do these applications so that they get them their money and you get stranded in the US. And I'm glad you have made this very clear. If you don't get full scholarship and if you don't get funding from anywhere and you know your family cannot support, don't think you can go and work in the US and support your fees. Wow. I'm glad you have been so clear to our viewers. If you have any question, those watching live, you can comment in the comment section so that your questions will be answered. Now we have known that we need full scholarship to really survive very well in the US. In terms of applying to the US, what are the basic documents that one needs before he or she can start the application?
Okay, so before I come to the documents, okay,
Yes.
there's one thing I always tell people to look out for before they apply. That is
Okay.
the state that you want to school there. You know, people hear that, oh, one of my friends is in University of Alabama, so I'm going to apply there. Another person say, oh, my friend is in Harvard, so I want to apply there. Or my auntie said, Yale is very good, so let me go there. So I want to apply there. No matter what
Yeah.
you tell them, yes, I want to go to Yale, I want to go to this. See, or every school in the US is good. Okay.
Yes.
So before you apply, you need to look at the state in which you are going, because the um amount of money you will spend in New York, okay, is different from what you are going to spend in, let's say, Missouri, or what you are
Yes.
going to spend in Texas. The cost of living, okay, cost of living in New York is very high compared
Yes.
to the cost of living in Texas or in Georgia. So the minimum wage in Georgia can be like $7. But then the minimum wage in New York will be around $15. It doesn't mean that New York you go there and make money. No, you will not. Because the room that, let me use room as I am as an example.
Yeah.
The one bedroom that you will get in New York for
Yes.
$1,500 When you come to Georgia, some parts of Georgia, you can get that same room for like $500 or $600 or $800. You understand? So you need to know the state that you are going. Some states, the cost of living is very, very high. It's not every school that we go to. Even when you come to Georgia, where the cost of living is low, schools like University of Georgia is in Atlanta. Atlanta cost of living is higher compared to place like Statesboro, Savannah. What you get in Atlanta for $900, you can get it here for 600. So you need to know all those kind of dynamics before you start choosing a school that you want to apply to. Now, when you know the cost of living and how to go about all those things, another thing you should
Yes.
also look at is the kind of school you are applying to. The reason why I'm saying this is that there are
Yes.
school, USA, they categorize schools like R1, R2. R1 research high institution, they do highest form of research. They
Okay.
partner with pharmaceutical companies, big companies to do that kind of um, research. Then R2,
Research.
they do research, but then they do more of coursework. Like I'm trying to differentiate between the two.
Yes.
RP schools do more coursework plus some research here and there. So you need to know all these things. Then you also need to know the acceptance rate. Okay. Now, this is how the acceptance rate works. Let's say you
Yes.
apply to Harvard and the acceptance rate is 5%. Now, 500 people, 500 people
Absolutely.
apply
Yeah.
to Harvard. Among that
Yes.
500 people, they will be only choose 5 or 10.
Yes.
You understand? But
Yes.
when you apply to University of Georgia, the acceptance rate is 7%. That 7%, if 700 people apply, they are going to choose only 7. Or you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes. Yes.
So you need to know the acceptance rate of the school that you're applying to. It's very important. You don't just apply to school because you've heard of that school, you've seen people graduating from that school, your auntie, your uncle, your grandmother, your grandfather, somebody told you about that school. No, you need to know
Wow.
the acceptance rate of that school. Some people, I know someone that applied to big, big, big schools. Okay, she didn't get into one, but if she
Yeah.
had used that same qualification to apply to schools that the acceptance rate is high, like
Yeah.
70%, 90%, 80%, 92%, she may have gotten into that school. So you need to know
Wow.
all these things before you even start preparing for your document. Now, when we come to the
In
document,
fact, before you even continue with the document, you are really educating us, and we are on learning and relearning. That's so powerful. Those who are watching live, we have Omulewa saying, "Good evening. There was a time I was trying to apply for master's program in the US, and I needed to apply for scholarship. But after filling the form, they were requesting for my scholarship. My question is that do I need to secure a scholarship first before I apply for admission in any university in the US? I don't know if you like to answer that, or along the line you answer that.
yeah, I will answer that along the line. So
Okay.
let me come back to the document aspect. So
Okay.
before you apply to any school to you need to look at the programs that they are doing and what
Yeah.
it can help you do in the future. Now, the basic things that you need is your CV, your academic CV. You need your
Okay.
transcript. Any institution that you attended, which is outside of Canada and US, you have to do an evaluation for it. Some schools waive that, others don't waive it. But any school that you attended, which is not in Canada or US, you need to do an evaluation of those transcripts. Then you also need 3 people, at most 3 people to recommend you for admission. Then you need to write your statement of purpose, why you want to study in the school, why you want to study that program, what about your professional or personal life has prompted you to go and do that studies, all those kind of things you need to what write it in your statement of purpose. Then you also sometimes they will also give you some prompts, like they'll ask you a question. How do you feel about this? What is diversity to you? All those things you need to answer them. Then
Wow. before I even allow you to proceed, I don't want to forget some of them. Wow. You said if you don't get your degree from in US or Canada, they have to evaluate.
Yeah.
What do you mean by evaluate?
So evaluation means that let me use Nigeria as an example. Okay. So with
Okay.
Nigeria, GPA scale, their CGPA scale is around 5.0. Okay.
Okay.
And US here is 4.0. Now, if you studied in Nigeria, your
Yes.
scale is 5.0, US is 4.0. So they are not going to understand what you did. Not like
Yes.
they're not going to understand the courses, but then they're not going to understand your
The
GP.
grading system. Yes.
So what you need to do is that you need to do a world evaluation services. It's not just world evaluation. There are many credentialing like evaluation services around. But what we normally use is World Education Services. So you need to send your transcript to them, then they will translate it to US or Canada standard for you. Then you can use that to apply to the schools.
Oh wow.
I hope
World
that makes sense.
yeah, I personally World Education Service. So it can be done online or how can people do that?
Yeah, so there's a way to do it. It's also another topic
Some
on its own. We will talk about I'll
okay.
talk about that whilst I'm talking about this document issue. So
Okay.
that is it. You need to make it US standard. So let's say you had 5.0, but when you evaluate it, that thing will come back to 4.0, which is US standard. Okay.
Yes.
Sometimes you do those evaluations, your GPA can go up. Sometimes too, it will be the same. Nothing will
Yeah.
change about that. So that is the understanding there. So you need to do that evaluation. Also, you need to check the school if they want you to write any exam. For example, you cannot be applying for computational this thing. Like some people will apply for engineering courses. Most engineering programs here, you need to get GRE. You understand? So you need to look at the schools that you're applying to. If you know you cannot write it, apply to schools that have waived that um requirement. Or if you're applying to a school, like there are some schools that waive English proficiency, so you don't need to write to fail. Apply to those ones. If you already have it and you feel like applying to those that are requesting for it, fine, you apply to them. But if you don't have it, try and avoid such schools that are asking for GRE to fail, they're asking for all those kind of things. So you need to do your research. Then aside this examination tool, some schools will tell you to bring a writing sample. Writing sample is like a work that you have done, a research that you have done. So let's say when you were in your undergraduate, you did a thesis.
Yes.
That thing can be, you can rewrite it or you can edit it to make it like the standard that the school wants and submit it as part of your application. So as I'm saying, you need your CV, you need your academic CV, you need three
Yes.
people to recommend you, you need your transcript. You may need to evaluate them if the school has not waived that. Some schools are there,
Yes.
they will tell you that okay, you can use that one to apply. But if they don't tell you, then you need to evaluate those documents. You also need to see if the school need any examination from you. You need to write any exam that you have to write that. Then also you need to provide a writing sample. That is, if the school is asking for it, you need to provide
Yes.
a writing sample. Then you also need to answer some questions. There are certain schools that will tell you that you should answer this question in 500 words. What does diversity mean to you? In 200 words, what does equity mean to you? You need to answer all those questions in your application.
Oh wow. You said so much here, and from all what you said, that means every school might have different requirements. So
Mm-hmm.
before applying to any university, make sure you read the actual requirements from that school. We should not follow the general, oh, you just need a CV. You have to know what type of CV, what type of document. Wow, interesting. I've learned this very well. We have one of our guests asking, oh, he said, I want to thank you and your guest for such an enlightening conversation. It is indeed helpful and knowledge driven. Thank you very much for your compliments. And he said, I want your guest to please provide direct tips or, if possible, names of some scholarships to apply for. And I'm sure she'll be answering that along the way. Ah, wow. So now you've educated us about all the documents, all the requirements needed. And in summary, we should follow the requirements in this every school's portal. Wow, interesting. Now, after knowing all these documents, what next?
Okay, so one person asked about if you need to apply for a scholarship before you apply for admission. No, you
Yes.
don't need to apply for scholarship before admission. You first need to apply for and get your admission. Until you get admission, you cannot apply for scholarship. That's why I said that sometimes you don't need to apply for scholarship. It's merit based, meaning that everything that you have put in for your application is what is going to what give you the scholarship. Anything that you wrote in your statement of purpose, everything is going to give you the scholarship. But if it's not going to give you the scholarship, then you can now apply for those scholarships. So it's two ways. Either you get it with your application, or when you get your admission, then you apply for such scholarships. Also, when it comes to tips for applying for scholarships, first of all, you need to make sure that whatever you're writing is authentic. You've not gone to copy from the internet or anywhere. Sometimes we put examples of how to write scholarship statements or statements of purpose. Somebody will just go and copy.
AI.
And the only thing that will change is their name and the program that they are going to do. They will catch
Yes.
you because those things that we provide is a generic something. You don't need to, you have to make it personalized. You have to make the person that's reading it follow what you are saying. So first of all, make sure that everything that you write is genuine, is a true reflection of yourself. It's not somebody that's written that for you. Also, make sure you, if they have like a word cut, let's say they say 1,000 words, it is 1,000 words, not 1,001. If it is 1,000 characters, it's 1,000 characters, not 1,001 characters. You make sure that you follow every single thing they said. If they're asking you to answer a question, like for example, what does diversity mean to you, you should,
Yes.
and you're even starting with a story or an experience, it should come back to the same thing about
Okay.
diversity. It shouldn't be all over the place. And some people too, they don't tell them anything. They want you to write a scholarship, like essay for scholarship. Then they'll start
Yes.
writing about how, excuse me, I'm poor. I come from a poor family. My grandmother had this. My grandfather that.
We are
I
not doing
was
charity.
dying. Like horrific. No, they don't need to know that, excuse my word, this is just for fun. Okay, they don't need to
Yeah.
know that poverty is right from your family. No, nobody needs to know that. Nobody needs to know that poverty is has its roots in your family. No, we are not
Yeah.
asking for that. What we want to know is that you, whatever you are writing, is your passion. You are telling us about your passion. You are telling us about your experience. You are telling us
Yes.
what's how the scholarship is going to benefit not just you, your country, your people, how it's going to benefit the program you are going to do, what you intend to do after graduating, and how it's going to benefit. Those are the things that they need to know.
Wow,
And
interesting. I want to even add up to what you said. I remember in China when we came, some students were also complaining about fees and other stuff. And one of the deans said, here we are not doing charity. And
mhm,
it's true. So if you are doing applications, that's not the time for you to explain how poor or your background or whatever it is.
mhm,
You should
yeah,
know why they are even giving you scholarship. They
yeah,
want to change lives, impact lives. That scholarship should be useful. There's nothing free. So they also demand something. And you have to prove to them why you think you are the right person to get that scholarship.
yeah,
Wow. Thank you very much for explaining that to them. And writing the when they say 800 words, for me, I think in Ghana, I don't know in the school you attended, but where I school, sometimes when they say 200 words, you have to write about 500 to show that yes, you write more. You are very good. Yes, it's not
More
like that.
paper.
Yeah, more paper. Even in even in
No.
China, when I came, when they ask a question, I want to write one page. Ah, and the teachers will be like, what is wrong with you? You are wasting your time. It's not
Yeah.
like that. And I'm
Hmm.
glad you have mentioned that to make things very clear.
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. Those watching live, if you have any question, you can comment in the comment section. Today we are talking about how to apply for scholarship to the US yourself without using an agent. And we have Eyram Consort. She is based in the US. She just graduated from her master's recently. And yeah, if you need anything on scholarship, she will help you. Okay. So where did we even end and I interrupted?
We're talking about the documents and how
Oh
to
yeah.
write scholarship and all those things. Yeah. So another thing that I will also say is that if
Yes.
you are writing let's say you are applying to six schools and you are writing a scholarship essay or you are writing a statement of purpose, please, please again, make
Yeah.
sure that every statement of purpose that you write to a school is unique. Don't use the same statement of purpose throughout all the six schools. The only thing that you change is the school's name and the program you are no. Make sure like there's some uniqueness. Let's say how you started one statement of purpose should be different from how you start another one. It should be different from how you started the other one. Don't use the same thing for all of them. It doesn't speak well of you. It doesn't show that you are serious with what you are doing or you are passionate about each school that you want to go to. You make
Wow.
sure everything is unique.
Really? That must be a lot of work. I then that one I'm disqualified from that because after my bachelor in China, when I was applying for masters, I wrote a uh study plan in such a way that I can just edit the program name, the research area, and some basics. But it was the same throughout. And through that I got several admissions in many
So
schools.
you know you edited some things, okay? You
Yeah.
just didn't leave it. Let's say once upon a time this the everything once upon a time this. So the only thing that you change is the school name. That's what I'm trying to say. Only thing that you change is the school name and the program you are doing. No, you still did some edits on it. So it's advisable that you do edits on whatever you are writing. It's not like everything should change. But then
Okay.
even if it's the same thing that you are using, there should
Yeah.
be some differences. If you are talking about someone or you are talking about a professor, the research they are doing is different. So you cannot use one research about one professor to write for another one. No, you need to make sure that everything has some changes in it.
Wow, interesting. Before I allow you to continue, we have Fat Crack. I hope I mentioned the name very well. He said hi to everyone. He said, I'm studying as well. You should tell us which country you are studying in, and we are glad to see you. And we have Jason White. Wow, a real life nigga world stream. This is exciting. Thank you very much for your compliment. And he said, I'm studying the effects of people being bad parents. I'm doing a case study about Natalians Wiki World. Oh, great, great. Glad to hear that you are studying there. And I'm sure, oh, he's studying in the UK. Wow, interesting. Wow, I would like to have your contact so that I can have you on this live stream sometime to share your experience studying in the UK as well. Glad to have you. So let's continue from writing the statement of purpose. Yeah, that's where we ended from.
Yes, and so after you statement of purpose, you what another most one another thing that's very important is your recommendation. The people who recommend you for admissions matters a lot.
Okay.
It matters a lot. And I always tell people that you should use people that can speak of you academically and they can speak, or people that can speak about you professionally, meaning that you should use people like your lecturers that you studied for your bachelor's or master's program. You should
Yeah.
use somebody that you've worked under, your boss. Maybe after school you went to work in a company, you went to work somewhere, and that person is your boss. You should use such people. Don't go and be using your friends. Don't be using your family members. The family members, the exception is that this person may be, let's say, your uncle, but then that person was your boss. That
Yeah.
person can write something for you. But your friend, your normal casual friend, cannot write a recommendation for you. Your wife, your husband, your daughter, whoever can write a recommendation for you. Those people that write a recommendation for you should be people that speak can speak of you very professionally. They can say that yes, this person professionally, the teamwork, this, that is good.
Yeah.
Or the people that academically can speak that, oh yeah, this person is good academically, this, that. So these people matter a lot. And those people should also know how to write recommendation letter. Okay, there was recently there was this thing on I think I saw it on Facebook where someone went to the Swedish embassy. I've forgotten the name of the embassy, but he wanted to study, and
Yeah.
when he went, he took some recommendation letter from his headmaster back in the secondary school, and he sent it there. He didn't even open it. I'm not saying that you open your recommendation letter, but he didn't open it. He went there, and from what I saw with all this thing was that the person wrote that this boy is a bad boy. He does not recommend him for admission and all those kind of stuff. So you should know people who are going to recommend you. Please and please, if you know that this lecturer, you fought with this lecturer, or you undermined his authority or her
Yeah.
authority, don't go to her that please recommend me for admission. No, go to people that you were free with. That's why when you are also in school, you need to make sure that your lecturers, you are at peace with them, you respect them, because trust me, that is not the end of the road. You are going to meet them in several places, and in those places they may be the ones who would say something for you to go higher. So if you're an undergraduate and you're watching us now, please make sure that your lecturers are people that you give them the maximum respect. You make sure that you don't step on their toes, because if you want to study, you will still go back to them for recommendation letters. Use people who would write and speak well of you, not people who will laugh in your face and then write a bad recommendation for you. And the thing is that that guy, at from his time, you have to write it on a sheet of paper. But in this new day and age, you don't see your recommendation letter. You don't know what that person is writing. The
Yeah.
only thing that you need is that person's email, their professional email. You need that. Then you send it, the school itself will send them a link to write the recommendation letter. So you will not see it. You won't. So make sure that the people that are writing it for you, they are people who behind your back will still sing your praises. You
Yeah.
don't just use anybody at all to do that for you. So please be sure to be nice to everybody when you are working, when you are in school. Be sure to be
Yeah.
nice to them, because that recommendation letter, you are not going to see it.
Wow. Interesting. That's so powerful for sharing that. Especially for China, if you want to apply for scholarship in China for postgraduate, the person have to be a professor or an associate professor. Apart from these people, nobody can be recommended. Yeah, you can use any person apart from a professor or associate professor. So I'm glad, and I think it's best if you apply, you get indeed a professor or academic professor, somebody who really knows your background. And people mostly think sometimes the school don't call. The school sometimes they personally call, have chat with this person to know much about you. And as you said, sometimes they will call and the lecturer doesn't even know that you have done some application. So sometimes I know professors are busy and all those things, but it's good you can even alert this person that I'm doing this application and this, so that they will be aware of you using them as their recommenders. Wow, interesting. Yeah, somebody's asking, Please, can you guide me through writing my CV in US standard and my SOP? And I'm sure you answer that. And
So I cannot do everything here, but I
yeah,
have a video. Let me see if I have a YouTube video that I can share with you. Let me go
yeah.
there and see.
Okay, sure. You can share the link so that they'll go
Yeah.
and check on your channel. And yeah, we cannot talk all everything about the scholarship application. That is why we have Eyram Consult. The days of using agents who will scam you is over. We have real agents who tell you the reality, and they will help you with every process about applying for scholarship to the US. So you mentioned several documents. After the documents is ready, or I don't know if you still have something to talk about the documents needed.
No. So let me join. I'm coming.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And what's the name of your YouTube channel? I didn't know you have a YouTube channel as well. Let me check it out myself.
It's talk with Amadum. So
Yeah.
okay. So what will happen is I may have to send you the link. Then you post it
Y-
in the
Yeah, in
chat.
the description box. Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
do that. Okay,
So
sure.
one thing that I would say is that after you have all your documents and everything, you also need to attend virtual sessions, meaning that you need to, when the school is organizing a program or the school is trying to organize virtual sessions to teach you how to apply to our school, how to
Yeah.
do this, what we do in us, attend them, because
Okay.
some of them when you attend it you get free application. They'll tell you that you can apply for free to their school, so attend them and get all the information that you need, ask all the questions that you need to ask, then you start your application. You create an account, you log in, you start the application process and everything. So I think that will be the final step. You going for virtual sessions, asking your questions. If you have more questions, that's an opportunity to get the admission counselor or admissions director's email address. You send them email. You make sure that whatever you are doing, you ask questions. Then
Yes.
you apply to the school and wait for the decision to be made. Another thing that I'm going to say is that when you um, are sending an email or when you're applying to all these schools, you know you need an email address. Please and please again, make sure that at least you have a professional email address. Don't go and be using coconuthead at gmail.com, whatever at gmail.com, risky boy, flexi girl, sexy don don, whatever. No, create a new email account. Let's
Okay.
your name is Amina Fati Ahmed at gmail.com. If you create the account and you have a lot of people with the same name, you can add 50 or you can add 10, 300 or whatever number to it. But make sure that it is a professional something. Don't go and be using sexy don. Like, no, please.
Yeah.
Listen,
Wow.
it doesn't cost to create an email account. So that's also part.
Wow. In fact, I'm so glad you are giving us all the full details, like the real details that everybody needs in applying for the scholarship. That is why, if you need any application or any help, you can contact her after this live so that she'll guide you with all the process. You can go for consultation so that the application will be so smooth and easy for you. I love how you are so versed in your work and how you are excellent in teaching people the real details about the scholarship application. I don't know if you still have something to talk before I ask my next question I have in mind.
Please ask.
Oh, okay. So I wanted to ask about acceptance letter. In China, most university you have to get acceptance letter from a professor. Even some schools before you can even start the application. application. Some schools not. Do we have something like that in the US?
Yes, we do, and it also depends on what you are doing. So, for example, if you are applying for a PhD program, okay,
Yeah,
what happens is that every school has its own discretion. There are schools that will tell you that before you apply to this program, make sure you have a professor who will say that yes, I can accept you to work in my lab. There are certain schools out there that there is no need for that. When
yeah.
you apply and you are accepted, we are going to match you with someone. So it depends. But for master's program too, most of the time, another way you can get funding is when you get someone who is a professor in the school already. You talk to them
Yeah.
about yourself, what you are passionate about, and why you are interested in their research. And if they feel like you are a good candidate for them, they would tell you to go ahead and apply and then choose you in the pool of students. You understand? So
Yeah.
it actually depends on the school, and it also depends on the kind of program you are applying to.
Oh, interesting. Wow. Fat crack Benny, he said he will help you study in Oxford University. Okay, we would like to have you in our next session for you to share with us the process involved in studying in Oxford University. So now, after you have gotten all your documents, do we have some time frame that we must do start our application?
Yes, we do. And most academic year in the US starts from August and then ends in May. So right now we've ended one academic year. So
Yeah,
if you want to apply to schools in fall, spring, or summer,
yes,
when it comes to fall, spring, I think the best time to start is now. This summer, you start applying against fall. And the fall, I'm not talking about as international students. I'm going to be sincere with you and say that I am not talking about this August. I am talking mostly about next year, August. The reason why I'm saying this is that if you apply to the school, mostly it takes about 4 weeks for you to get admission letter. Okay, when you get the admission letter, you now have to provide bank statement in order to get your I-20, and it can take up to like 3 weeks for you to get your I-20. Now, that 3 weeks, let's say you start applying now, you will
yeah,
finish your application now. You in 4 weeks time, that will be June. That is when you are going to get your admission letter. Then
yeah,
another 3 weeks, that will be July. That's when you get your I-20. Then now you
yeah,
have to get a visa date to apply for visa. By the time you get the visa, school may have already started. And once school starts here,
yes.
you cannot come in. So if you want to apply or you want to come to school, then it means that you have to start applying this year against 2025. That way you have ample time to
Yeah.
get your application, everything in place, get your funding, get your everything, and then you come to the school. Unless you want to apply against spring. Spring too, it may be difficult, but it's not something that is far fetched. Unless you are in countries like Ghana, US, Nigeria, and all those places where the visa wait times is very high. So my advice is that if you're applying against next year for, you start now. You don't wait till January to start. You don't wait till December to start. You start this May so that you can have all the time in the world to prepare for it.
Wow, interesting. So does it mean that we can, if I want to apply next year, I can even start applying now and select maybe next year?
Yes, you can start now. You can start
Oh,
now against next year.
okay, great. And I would love you to be using months instead of fall, spring, summer, and those things because
Okay.
I know most people are not used to that, especially if you are not in those four winter zones. Yeah. Okay, interesting. We should start now, even for next year. Now, after we have started the application process with the funding, you mentioned after you have applied and gotten admission before you can even uh, look for funding. How is that about with the
Okay.
funding? How do we get, yeah?
Okay, so with the funding, as I said earlier, there are many schools that you need to first get the admission before you apply for funding,
Okay.
meaning that your admission letter should come. You need to accept the admission that yes, I have accepted to come to this school. When you are
Yeah.
done, then you can now apply for any of the fellowships or the funding or the scholarships that they have. You cannot apply for the scholarship to get scholarship before you get admission. No, you cannot go to a room before you get a seat. Like you have to go to a room before you get a seat to sit down.
Yeah.
You cannot get a seat before you go to a
Before
room.
you
You
get the
understand?
room.
So you always need to have the admission letter, accept that yes, I'm coming to this school before you can apply. But there are other schools that will tell you that, oh, okay, as you are applying for the admissions, that application that you did is what we are going to look at to see if we are going to give you funding or not. So that is just it that way. Either way, you have to get your admission first.
Okay. So after getting the admission with the funding, where can we get funding? You mentioned some from professors, or I don't know, and some from other agencies like scholarship grant or something like that.
So, as I said, we have school university wide scholarship. Okay, so the university would have scholarships that they have. Let's say this scholarship, so you
Yeah.
can apply to them. Your department, the department that you've applied to, or the college or the school that you've applied to, let's say school of business, they have scholarships that you can also apply to over there. Then the department, let's say you are in a department of accounting, accounting too can have scholarship for
Yeah.
you to apply to. And sometimes too, you can talk to the program coordinator and they may have like they may know professors who have funding and needing students. So when you talk to them, they are going to tell you that okay, this professor has funding and needs students. So you can write him or her an email that yes, he wants funding and they are going to give to you. So these are basically the ways that you can get funding.
Oh, interesting. So somebody is asking for someone who want to apply for scholarship. Do I need to provide proof of fund or bank statement? And I think yes, because she explained that you need that. So yeah, I'll also like to ask this question. What if you get scholarship? Do you still need bank of statement or proof of fund?
It depends on the scholarship you get, okay?
Oh,
As I said, there are different types of scholarship. You have the full scholarship, you have the partial, you have the tuition scholarship. So if the fees is covering only the tuition part of your education, then the
yes.
other fees you need to provide statement that shows that you can pay for the other fees. You
Yes.
understand?
Yeah.
So either way, you would need um, bank statement. And even one advantage or one perk that it gives people who have full scholarship, like they're not going to pay anything, but they
Yeah.
still provide some bank statement because they want to make the stake of getting the visa very high. So either way, whether you have full scholarship or not, I
You
would
still
advise that you provide one.
Wow, interesting. We are about to end this live because we cannot talk much everything about this. So that is why if you need every detail, you will reach Eyram Consult through Facebook, YouTube, everywhere, email, and I'll be sending a link of where to contact them, and they will guide you. They will make sure you get admission and full scholarship to the US. If they can't, they will tell you they can't. They are not like others. Wow. Thank you very much for sharing so much information, for educating us and making us unlearn and relearn. How is living expenses in the US? You have stayed there for more than I think 2 years now. How is living expenses in the US for a student?
So, as I said earlier, you need to look at the state that you are going to. The state you are going to will determine the kind of living experiences you have.
Yes.
That is a goal. Like that's the main thing. If
Yeah.
you are staying in New York, Boston, any of those northern parts, your living expenses is going to be high. Your cost of living is going to be high.
Yeah.
There are things that you cannot afford, like you can afford it, but it's going to be very very expensive.
Yeah.
So it depends on the state that you are in, and even the state, it depends on the city you are in. As I said, I'm using Georgia as an example.
Yeah.
If you live in Atlanta, the cost of living is quite high compared to you living in a rural part of um, Atlanta and Georgia. So
Yeah.
you need to know all those kind of perks before you apply to a school.
Yeah. Wow. Interesting. I'm glad you have explained that. But to you personally,
Hmm.
how is living expenses in the US based on where you stay? To you personally, how is living expenses?
I think it's quite okay. I think it's quite okay. And one thing that has made it reflective for me is that, I just completed moving out of state to a different state, and
Yeah.
looking at the kind of advantage I have here,
Yes.
I'm not going to have it in the state I'm going to. For example, when it comes to apartment, over
Yes.
here, the apartment I have, it comes with internet, it comes with water bill, it comes with
Yeah.
like furniture and all those kind of things. And
Yeah.
it's a reasonable price. But where I'm moving to is comes with nothing, just the room, but then
Yeah.
it's more expensive. So I would say that the cost of living in my state and where I am, the city I am in now, is
Yes.
reasonable compared
Oh,
to where I'm moving to.
wow. Interesting. I'm glad you have been able to share with our viewers. And I had several US people, some US students who are studying in China, and they mentioned comparing China to US, living expenses in China is very, very cheap. Okay, probably maybe he's from the US, so dollars to RMB is very cheap. So probably maybe that is why he said that. I'm very glad you honored our invite. And I'm very glad you have been so frank and being real, telling us the reality about applying to the US. I know so many people would like to contact you. Where can people reach you if they need any of these services?
So you can contact me on Eyram Consults, Facebook Messenger. You can also send me. When you go to my page, I have my WhatsApp over there. Um,
Yes.
I have my anywhere you want to contact me. My email is there. My WhatsApp is there. My YouTube channel, you can contact me over there. I'm also sending you the link for my page. You
Yeah.
can send it to them. So you can
Okay.
contact me there, then we chat and talk about issue. Anything.
Wow. The
Anything
last
related to education. Let me make that clear.
maybe others have business plans too. You never know.
Oh yeah, business. We can do business. We can do
You said
business.
anything apart from
Anything.
studying.
No, anything related to education and business. We can talk about it.
I can give you another example where you say, "Oh no, let me add that." Anyways, I'm just kidding. So, thank you very much and for honoring this invite and coming to share, educate my audience about scholarship application in the US. Thank
Well,
you very much. And like proverbially Oliver Twist, we can't wait to have you more in the future to talk more about studying the US, living experiences in the US, and many more. To our viewers who just joined, this is Das Group, a podcast, the only live streaming podcast based in China. And our main goal is to educate, edify, and entertain the world. Purposely one about business. If you want to do importation, any business from China, then you should reach us. If you want any scholarship programs, especially in China, you can reach us in US. That is why we have Eyram Consult and other countries. And if you want anything about business, which I've already mentioned, you should look into China. And we have people every week who comes to share their life experience, especially people who are living abroad, to share their real living experiences in other countries and sharing their story to inspire you, to educate you so that you learn. Don't forget to to subscribe, follow our pages for more content and more conversations from this platform. Until next time, thank you very much. And our special guest would like you to say your last words if you have any last words before we leave.
My last words will go to those in the undergrads and maybe masters.
Yeah.
Please study hard. Education is not scam. Okay. Study hard, get good GPAs. Don't just pass through the school, let the school pass through you. Um be nice to your lecturers. Sometimes, yeah, they can be annoying, they can be putting pressure on you
Yeah.
and all those kind of things. But please make sure that you have a good relationship with them because you are going to need them in the future. And no matter where you are, no matter your circumstances, education can change your life. So please hold on to it. There are many other things that you can do while studying. It doesn't mean that you should forego your education and then focus on the other things. You can do both at the same time. So focus, be focused, learn hard, get good GPAs, and then add God. In all things, God does miraculous things. So add Him to everything that you do. Thank you.
Wow. Indeed, we will add God, never forget God in all the process. And viewers, our dear loved ones, this is where time will permit us to end the session about how to apply to US yourself without using an agent. And we had our special guest, Eyram Consult, the only consult you must reach before you apply to the US. Until next time, see you. And in Chinese, we will say Zaijian. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye bye.